That's pretty cool, right? All right, so we are getting kind of close here. The turbo now is all mounted up. I still got to get the oil line here run correctly and tightened in. The exhaust is on, but we're working on getting some of the other stuff fitted up. I'm going to start working onto the fuel system here. So, remember rail here. Now this is the throttle body assembly that was on here. Obviously we have a broken bolt. Luckily, there was a second assembly in the car. And it looks like it has both good bolts, even though one of the bolts is actually one that holds the radiator condenser to the radiator. See? It's one of these. Or it could have been one of these down here. So I'm going to get this assembled, cleaned up. We're pulling our injectors off of here. I'm not getting crazy with this. I'm just going to try to clean off any of the loose resemblance of what this is here. I just hate it when this happens to intakes. I don't know what someone was trying to do here. It does have some weird shapes to it here a little bit. I basically just took the angle thing here, cleaned this up the best I could. Somebody had already gone over this with something pretty gougy. You can see in through here, right there. But I'm gonna get all the fittings that I need for the rail. I'm gonna clean up these injectors and get this throttle body ready to go. We'll at least be able to get this intake assembled. Maybe even just sit it onto here so we can see what it looks like. There's still lots more that needs done to this, but hey, it's one step at a time. We'll get this cleaned up, we'll get it assembled. I'll show you where some of the fuel fittings go onto the rail. All right, everything's all nice and cleaned up. Cleaned the surfaces. I pulled out what I needed to here on the rail. I'm getting ready to install our fuel gauge right here. So 3 times around. Usually it works just perfectly for this. All right, now you don't want to force that in using that. Wow, there's even a little fancy cap in here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bracket off the back here because we're not going to use that. And then in here, open up, we have our swivel. And our fitting. I'm going to get a little bit of grease on all these O-rings. Then we're going to get everything fitted up, remove our bracket, and get everything tightened up real nice. All right, a bit more here yet. Well, I thought this was an end cap for over here, but it actually needs to block this off. We have our swivel installed. If you take note, I did spin this cap so that this is coming this way because that's where I want my vacuum port to go. I have to install this part here yet, but the intake has the fuel rail on it. It's all bolted down. All our injectors are ready to go, and everything is cleaned up. Okay, check it out. I mean, I do like the red. It looks better on this camera than it does standing here by looking at it. The red and the black are going to go very well together. This is just set on here so that we can see what it looks like. As I said, there's always still more to do on this car. We will probably get the fuel pump installed next, along with our feed and return lines, and getting them all mounted up, along with our fuel return setup. So let's see what we got here. Ooh, look at that. That goes on the fuel pump here. Goes right there. It's always easier to install after it's on. And then here's our filter. All right, well, you know, there's a couple things to do, and we are almost there. All right, well, I got everything here out for the fuel system. I started getting all of my zip ties cut apart. I got the fittings assembled into here. Those are clamps. Busy getting the fuel system out. We got our float out, so we're going to get that installed. Here's our brand new gasket for our pump. I have the tank dropped here. Really nice how this has the lock busted and the clip in here busted, so guess we'll zip tie that together. Other than that, I mean, everything looks pretty good up underneath the gas tank, except for the seat bracket that's pushed down through over there. But we're ready to take this off. That's why we have our hammer and flat screwdriver. So, oh yeah, here's the other line. Here's the return line. So they are labeled. So return. This is probably going to be the side that comes off the pump, and then they're both 90s. So we'll have to see which way is what, and we'll get that stuff set up, because I know we need to come off the bottom of that. So hopefully it kind of goes back. Sometimes I'll put a 22 degree on the end when I did some of the other ones, but it should work out. So here, our flow, this is for that. So this will have a short one right here. This one goes to the pump. This one goes to here. And here, what do we got? The other end we have, all right, we got a 90 to go up on the fuel rail, and a straight to come off of the other side of that. All right, let's get this opened up here. These new setups are actually pretty freaking nice right here. All right, now let me see if I can do this. Usually like to, you can kind of see through the pump here. Without taking anything apart. All right, I'm gonna get this off. I'm gonna get that on, get the other one out, and we'll get this thing fitted in. All right, here we go. Really liking how these lines are coming down off of here. I'm gonna see how they fit. I might have to put this one this way. I do have to tighten these down yet, but when you're tightening these up, you want to make sure that you hold this back one here, because you do not want that to spin when you're snugging this down, okay? Same with this one. All right, so I'm gonna work on getting that lifted up. I did install the plug that goes on here that was in the bag. Just removed this little plastic end. I just put a little bit of grease on that, and the same with these. It's not really necessary, but I did put a little bit of grease where it fits down. Any gas will deteriorate that. It's not gonna hurt nothing. So we have our line laying underneath here. I'm getting ready to reinstall the fuel tank. So I'm gonna clean up our fasteners, and they will get some NECs on them. Here is the old pump that was installed in here. It doesn't look like it was that old. A lot of times when I see these socks, they are pretty black. So this might have had a 255 pump put in it at one time fairly recently, I would like to think. So there's that. We'll just let that evaporate out. We got a little bit more fuel there that we'll have to get cleaned up. But This tank is ready to be reinstalled. And we're one step closer to having this fuel system. Like I said, everything is just fitting up nice. I do have the brackets to mount all the line up. Looks like the filter will be pretty far to the front. There is a piece of metal underneath here that I'm going to remove before I start tucking the line up. There was one on the other side, and then I'm going to grab some black paint and just cover all that bare metal so that we don't have any issues with that. And then we're just going to feed our lines up through, along with getting our fuel rewire that was included also. Like I said, so far I like the way everything is made. Everything is fitting in better. It looks like there has been some slight revisions and some improvements to some of this since I got these since I've installed other fuel kits. So man, this is awesome. All right, so we got most of the fuel system taken care of, along with buttoning up a lot of other things. If you take notice, the intercooler is now bolted on, the radiator's in, everything else here is connected. Along with our wiring harness, we ended up running our lines across here, coming down off. Everything is nice and tight. We have our vacuum lines all hooked up. Our battery, a brand new battery, is just set in here. We got all the turbo lines figured out. Fuel lines run down across the top here. Everything's tucked up back over here. Here is the fuse mounted right here. I am at the point where I still need to tighten up a little bit across the bottom here with these fuel lines to get them mounted up to the floor. But the fuel system and some of the other stuff was kind of some of our main things. So I guess I'm going to come back to that to finish out the fuel system. Everything, like I said, did fit pretty nice. We ran our lower underneath and our upper here and down across. We'll grab a light. Let's just take a look at how everything is working out down here. The fuel wire relay setup fits up really nice. This is actually turned toward the back, which helps with installation instead of it pointing straight down. Both of the fuel lines, the way that they come out, are offset just enough where it works out. We have everything fitted up across the bottom. I gotta work in a little bit of that extra length out of the lines, so everything looks good up in the engine bay, because I did attach from this side and then found out that I have too much up there. Unless you're making your own lines on the car, I guess that sometimes happens. Depending on how you run it, it's hard to make a set of lines that fit every car. So with that being said, we're just going to work out that little bit of extra there, and we'll get it fixed up. But with that being said, very happy with the fuel system. Everything worked out very nice. Everything was here. We got everything installed, lubricated all of our O-rings. You can get the correct wrenches for these unless you're very gentle and careful when you're tightening this stuff up. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, the battery is hooked up. We have our fuel relay is pulled. Our coil is unplugged. Everything should be plugged in. I've never seen this car crank, so I'm going to get in this car. I'm going to see what it does. We're going to see if it cranks over to make sure that we have some oil flowing. And we're going to check our oil feed and return at our turbo. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to power up our fuel pump. And we're going to make sure that that's working. And we're going to check all of our connections on our fuel system, our feed and return, and make sure that we don't have any leaks, and then fix and address if we have any. Usually I'm pretty lucky and I don't. So let's see how this works out. Let's get the cranking, get to powering up this fuel system, And, well, we're going to one step closer to seeing this car here run. What we don't have. It should be on this car. Check this out. We're missing one little problem, one little thing over here, and that would be a ground strap that runs from here down to here, which is also a secondary ground, which means that for some reason we're not getting good enough ground over here on this, which should technically be enough for this. Yeah, see, it's a little loose. See if that makes a difference. There we go. So we got to get a ground strap. Let's see if yep. So we will have to add that ground strap. Let's see if we neutral. Sucks not having an oil pressure gauge to see. Oh, it's cranking better. All right. Well, that's a good sign. Let's take a look. No oil leaks there. No oil down here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since it looks like after cranking it 3 good times, I don't see any oil. I mean, we should be good there. Let's jump out our fuel relay here and see if we got. Okay, here's our fuel. Ooh. Okay, got a leak. Not tighten that. Oh, look. It's not tight. All right. When they're flared like that, you don't want to over tighten them. Okay. All right. Try this again. Oh. Okay, so now we got right here in the front. I did not have this out. All right, looks like around 48. So I'm probably going to bump this up to stock PSI, which is like 58. Good cold fuel. All right, let's take a look back here. Not too bad. So, other than me forgetting to tighten up one thing and seal something, we have a very successful fuel system right here ready to go. With that being said, I guess we're just going to close out the rest of the fuel system. You'll see it in the next video. I'll have everything tucked up and I will go over it in that one also. But right now, I mean, everything is good to go. I've got to add a ground to this, and we're going to get this installed, make sure it works with the key. And we are ready to, well, you're going to see that in the next video. Later, guys.